We've got about 33 people there. So Gail's going to start us off with our invocation. And I have a flag in the background there.
Stephanie Abrams reporting live throughout the night as Laura screamed ashore. Here's a sample of what she experienced. And bear in mind, Steph and her crew reported live.
Mine needs to mute.
Okay, so with as much uncertainty surrounds us today, I want to share one of my favorite verses because I do believe there is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to tear down and a time to build, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to scatter stones and a time to gather them, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to search and a time to give up, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to mend, a time to be silent and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, and a time for war and a time for peace. Please bow your head with me. Dear Heavenly Father, what we do know is that there is always a time to serve others, and we are thankful for Rotary and the opportunities it provides to do so. With so much uncertainty in the world today, please let us be comforted in knowing you are at work for the good at all times. Please, Lord, guide us to not lean on our own understanding or their lack of when times seem unpredictable, adverse, or unfavorable. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance. Flag of the United States of America.
And to the
Republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. Is it the truth? Is it fair
to all concerned?
Will it build
Will it build goodwill and better
friendships?
friendships? And will it be beneficial to all concerned?
All right. Thank you, Gail. I'm going to go ahead and mute all just so we can have a uninterrupted meeting. And if you need to speak, remember to unmute your mic.
Or you can just press your space bar.
There you go. All right. Well, I'm going to kick us off here. First of all, I'm home today, and that flag over my shoulder, which Gail led us in the pledge, was actually flown over Iraq. So y'all got the privilege, if you said the pledge to that flag, of pledging to a flag that actually went to combat with me and came back a veteran with me. So I am home because we have had a COVID illness in my household. I just wanted to let everybody know. My wife and son both tested positive. My son has recovered. He got it going off to visit his girlfriend at Chapel Hill, who's now home with him. And my wife is still ill, so I am doing a 14-day quarantine, which ends next Tuesday. So I've missed some work and have spent some time with my family again. So fortunately, I tested negative twice. So I'm thinking I may either be immune already or who knows, can't get it. So good and bad news there. First up, I'm going to ask Rick to do our birthdays and anniversaries. Rick, you there? All right, I don't see Rick. He did send something to me. He did say he would see me in the morning, so.
He's on here, it says connecting to audio. He must be having problems.
Okay, so we have a couple of member birthdays this coming week, or this week. The 26th is Jeff Tillman. Jeff, you here? No, don't see Jeff. And then Jonathan Smith is Saturday. So a couple of birthdays. We have a couple of wedding anniversaries. Tomorrow is Tony and Cynthia Humeyer's wedding anniversary. Tony, you remembered?
Yes, a big one, 35 years.
Ah,
Wow.
congratulations.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And tomorrow is Tom Phoenix. Oh, Tony's was a few days ago. Tom, you have a wedding anniversary coming up tomorrow?
No.
No,
No?
mine is tomorrow. Mine is 28.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's Tom Richardson. You guys have to fire me from this job.
Okay.
Oh, mine's on Saturday, I
Or at
think.
least cut your pay, right?
That's right. So, Tom, you know what year it is? How many years it's been?
22, I think, but I think it's Saturday, not tomorrow.
It is Saturday, and it's 22 years.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Tom, you have a club anniversary.
Oh,
Tom
okay.
Phoenix.
Well,
Tom
yeah,
Phoenix.
yeah, but that was sort of like when I came. That's the anniversary when I came back because I'm a charter member, and then I left for a couple of years. So I think they're still listing that anniversary. That's kind of when I came back. So
Yes. And Tony Humeyer, you have a club anniversary as well. You know how many years, Tony?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, I know exactly because when we moved here, so it's 14 years ago.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So, and Matthew, I don't know if Matthew disconnected, he texted me and said he couldn't get back on. Matthew, you have a wedding anniversary next week. Apparently, Rick thought you needed an advanced warning. So.
No, actually, I'm the one that knows all about it. Marley thought it was 14 years, and I had to correct her that it was 15. So I'm on top of the hill this time.
Matthew, congratulations on finding a woman who would put up with you for 15 years. It's quite an accomplishment, buddy.
Thank you.
All right.
Absolutely.
This is the last week of our 2020 extended fundraiser. Lisa, do you have any announcements?
Well, my first comment will be, I will be really happy when we have drawn all the prizes on September 10th and go into a new fundraising year. But everyone's done a great job. Even the Satellite Club has sold, a couple $100 worth of raffle tickets. We will close it the 31st, which is Monday, and give me a week or two to just pull everything together. And September 10th, we will pull the raffle winners virtually. So thank you for all your support.
Lisa, could you remind me, where should I drop off all of the checks and stubs that I have?
You're free to drop them off at my office, Frank, or I'm happy to pick them up.
Well, I'll be glad to drop them off at your office. I've had them on my desk for quite a while, and it's a pretty good pile, so I'll bring them to you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. So I'm assuming we're going to do it during our meeting. Is that what you want to do?
Yes.
All right. That'll be exciting. So we do have a couple of golf tournaments coming up this month in September. For the late planners, we have Children of Vietnam and the district golf tournament. Gate City has a team in both of those golf tournaments, so that's good stuff. If anybody needs to try and get into one of them, feel free to email me and I'll get you whatever information you need. So I saw Dan Quinn is on, and I'm not sure if Chip Person is here or not, but do y'all want to make any announcements about Pigstock? It is back on. So
sure. Good morning, everybody. Is Chip on? I don't see him. Yeah, we're back on. We've got 8 teams in right now. They're going to cook. I think maybe the Greensboro Club and the Crescent Club are going to morph together and have their own event. But we're all going to be cooking in different locations. I'm going to take my team, my office team, out of the running, and we'll have the judging at my office. So every team can sort of set this up the way they want to, run it the way they see fit, and then we'll have the judging, and all this will be live on Facebook when we do that. So a few folks can come to my office and watch if they want, or everybody will see it, and then we will deliver trophies after the fact. So it's on. I think Chip's agreed to do it at his house, which is phenomenally generous. And there'll be a website set up so everybody can just sort of donate from their phone, and we can track the winners that way.
Thank you, Dan. So the next announcement is about our satellite club. Some of you probably heard they were the topic of our new member conference. We've been doing a district new member conference in broken pieces here over the last 4 weeks. And Chris Justice got on and talked about how we formed the satellite club. We are doing their formal induction of all of the members who are currently members September 14th, I'm sorry, which is a Monday. And we're going to do that at Cafe Pasta. We've got badges and packets and all that good stuff to give to everybody. Mike, I'm sorry I was not at the meeting. Unfortunately, I was quarantined Monday, so I was planning to go and hear you talk about the foundation. How'd it go?
Oh, it went wonderful. As I said, I was actually, this was going to be my happy dollar because they were really so receptive, and as I said, the energy in the group is over the top, and they can't help but attract new members. There's no doubt about that. So as I said, I see great things coming from that club. And Charlotte's doing a wonderful job, by the way. She was selling raffle tickets at the end, and I don't know how many she sold, but it was a bunch.
She's working really hard, and we should be proud to have her leading that group. So the follow-up to that is we do need to be working on recruiting new members. I didn't announce we do have a guest, Kelly Coley, and our speaker Matt Hedgren, but Kelly and Matt, if you guys have any interest in Rotary, once we get back to meeting on Thursday mornings, this is a great group to come have breakfast with at the Henry. So last announcement is September 17th. Tommy Rosser is coming to visit our club. He will be visiting virtually. That is our district governor. Not sure of etiquette on how you introduce the district governor through a Zoom meeting, if we all stand up and clap or not, but he will be coming. He will be our speaker that day. Please try and attend. Let's have a good showing. Right now, the push in the district is membership. Obviously, it's hard to recruit people to our meal clubs. So one of the highlights is our satellite club is growing still. So if you want to recruit to the main club, the satellite club might be a good place to bring them to get a feel for the energy of our club. So that's all the announcements I have. I'm going to kick it off to our happy dollars. I think Grandpappy Christensen's going to fill in for Grandpappy Lewis today. So, Bobby.
Happy dollars. Has everybody got Venmo? Make sure you load the Venmo app. It's a great way we can all send money to each other and get rich. Who's got some pent-up demand here? Gail.
You're muted, Gail.
Unmute, Gail.
Okay, sorry about that. So my happy dollar is going to be, there's so many, but I would like to do a Paul Harris in memory of Hal. September 27th will be 5 years that he is gone, and September 23rd would be our 20th wedding anniversary. And my birthday's on the 17th. So September has always been a really special time for us. So that's my happy dollar.
All right.
And I guess somebody will get with me about that, Mike.
I bet Mike Conrad knows how to get that done.
Yeah.
I got a happy dollar, Bobby. This is Mike.
Yeah, Mike.
If you remember last week, those that were on, we had a club assembly, and I actually mentioned them that we were looking for a champion for polio. And lo and behold, Rick Martin had sent me a message, and he is all in to do that. So I am so delighted that Rick Martin has agreed to be our polio champion for the Gate City Rotary Club.
All right. Thank you, Rick.
Oh gosh, I forgot something.
Go ahead.
Very important. So I'll do another happy dollar. Everyone should meet Sadie. Sadie, and she's a puppy, and she's very much a puppy, and I don't even know what to do with her because I forgot what it was like to have a puppy. And we thought Bella was leaving us, so we signed up for this puppy, and now Bella's totally fine. And we have 2 dogs, which I would have never signed up for. So I'm open for any tips. If you have any magical trainers, this was one of 10 in the litter, and she was given to us too soon, so she knows nothing. So we're really working hard to make Sadie a very mature puppy as quickly as possible. So anyway.
I can help you put that dog in a dog show.
Yeah, I think she's worthy. She's very beautiful, isn't she? Look how long her legs are.
Wow.
Very cute.
Yeah.
Well, I've got a happy dollar too, Bobby.
All right.
We're actually sort of officially announcing today that we have plans on opening up both Proximity and Printworks on September the 8th. So we're excited to get back to rolling and having some guests here. So anyways, more news as we continue to develop that.
I can have my birthday party there.
There you go.
Another place for Chip Person to go after work.
That's right.
Any more?
Hey, good morning, folks. Sorry I'm late. I've got a happy dollar, a couple of them, and it's along the line what Mike was just talking about. I'm just delighted to be jumping in on polio. And I just heard this week, and you guys may have heard the same thing, that we are down now to active cases only in 2 countries, Pakistan and Afghanistan, and that Africa, which had been a big problem, now is 95% immunized. And boy, we can just give a big old applaud for Rotary for the wonderful effort they've made since '85 and bringing this about. So 2 more countries getting close. We've said it before, so I don't want to jinx it, but getting close.
I have a happy dollar or a couple. Actually, I'll send more than a couple because my first happy dollar is to the Satellite Club, and they are shaming us with their happy dollars. So we need to really step up the game. My second happy dollar is to my guests that are here today, Matt Hedgren, Captain Matt Hedgren with the Salvation Army, and Kelly Coley, who has started working with the Salvation Army, and it appears that she's doing a bang-up job, and we're happy to have her on board. I'm a lousy board member, but I'm very passionate about what the Salvation Army does in our community, and so I'm happy to have you here today to talk and share with our club. So thank you.
All right. Any more? Well, you know, Grandpappy says, as we've all heard, that if one door closes, another opens. And Grandpappy reminded me, if that happens to you, you might be in prison.
Thank you, Bobby. Lisa, if you want to go ahead and segue right into our introduction, we'll introduce our speaker.
I don't have a bio, so I will let both of you introduce yourself and share a little bit about your role at the Salvation Army, and welcome to Gate City Rotary.
Sure, thank you. It's good to be with the club again. And again, my name is Matt Hedgren. I'm the captain here with my wife and I. We're the core officers for the Salvation Army, which basically that means we're the administrators and pastors for everything that happens under the Salvation Army umbrella here in Greensboro. And I'm glad to have Kelly, and I'll let Kelly, I know many of you know Kelly here, but I'll let her introduce herself as well.
Hi, I'm Kelly Coley. I am the new Director of Development for the Salvation Army and Boys and Girls Club of Greensboro. I started June 1st, so it's been an interesting couple of months, but I've really enjoyed it. I love the Salvation Army, and if anyone would like to learn more, I'd be happy to take you on a tour or meet for lunch or coffee and discuss it with you.
And we appreciate in a Zoom meeting, but we'll see if that works okay. I'm going to try that just a second so we can see if here. Let's see, share. You know what? It seems like it's not letting me, so we can roll with it, and I'm fine without it. So I want to start to tell you, you know, when I first want to thank Lisa for the invite and thank Lisa Simpson and Kelly Harrell for their support as board members. Don't believe her that she's a lousy board member. She's a great supporter, and we have great support not only from board members in this club, but throughout the Gate City Rotary Club, and so we thank you. And when we talked, I think it was, let's see, probably at the beginning of the summer, Lisa, and we mentioned when we could come and speak with you all. And we thought it'd be good kind of at the end of summer, beginning of fall, because we knew we would be in some sort of transition and what that looks like at the Salvation Army through the past 6 months in our COVID response. And so before I get there, I like to start off with a little bit of history first and some kind of did you knows. Now, last time when I was with your group, I had some random did you know questions, and your group pretty much nailed them all. And I don't have any Salvation Army swag to give out today, but here's my bit of history before we get into it. You know, in 1910, which the Salvation Army started back in 1865, but 1910, our founder, William Booth, who started preaching and reaching out to the lost on the streets of London, was getting to the end of his life, and it was a time where he couldn't go and meet with all the Salvation Army supporters and soldiers, and he was about 2 years from his death, but he had to get the word out, and he wanted to get the word out of how to encourage them, how to encapsulate the Salvation Army's mission. And so then he didn't have Twitter. He didn't have 280 characters that he could send out. There was no Facebook or email blast that he could get out. And so in 1910, how did you get word around the world? He used the telegraph. And so the Marconi Telegraph Company was able to send a transatlantic message to the Salvation Army world. And just like in those days, as we are in today, funds are always low, right? You know, funds are always low. We want to be right and spend our money right here at the Salvation Army, make sure we're very accountable. So he was thinking about how to make this message right. And he had to pay for every letter, every character. And so he used 6 characters, just one word. And if this was back and forth, I'd let you guess, but it seems everybody's muted. But that one word that he sent across the Salvation Army world that Christmas Eve was simply the word others. 6 letters, others. And for what that meant to the Salvation Army soldiers, supporters, and around the world, it encapsulated everything that we do. Now, the Salvation Army, in a normal day here, in a normal year, you kind of know what that looks like with our shelter and our Boys and Girls Clubs and our family stores. You know, we last year served over 52,000 meals. We do grocery assistance, about over 1,600 cases. We had over 27 nights of shelter that we provided here. We have 4 Boys and Girls Club sites, and over 35,000 people were served. And you know what we do at Christmas with Kettles and Angel Tree, but that's a normal year. And 2020 is anything but a normal year, as we can see as we're meeting this way. And so I want to give you a little glimpse into what's happening and what has happened with COVID as it relates to how we serve the community. So you can know, if you're a supporter, how the Salvation Army has responded. You know, at the beginning of this, back in the middle of March, when COVID hit and everything became quarantined, the Salvation Army, you know, we take care of people that are and so we were an essential. When we say that the Salvation Army serves 365 days a year, 24/7. That did not change during COVID. We went into a shelter in place mode with our residents. These were some of the most vulnerable population of our community, especially in the initial times of COVID coming through Greensboro. And so our job was first to take care of them. Our family stores shut down, our Boys and Girls Club and other ministries shut down, but we needed to take care of those that were off the street and under our care. So that meant 24/7 care. That meant 3 meals a day. Normally we're a shelter that is closed during the day and it transitions into classes and different programming. But now we were in a shelter in place. Children were with us all day long. What that was obviously some staff challenges, some logistical challenges. In the end, we did not have a single case of COVID in our shelter, which we were blessed with, and we're still working on safety protocols and working close with Cone Health. We worked closely with Cone Health, and they did a great job of testing our clients and staff throughout this process on site here. And so our goal now, as we work with these families, is as we're past that initial rush of those first few months, is now to get them back on track. We're getting them back out into their own sustainable housing. And the way we work now is one of the difficult things during COVID was if you were experiencing homelessness in those first 2 months when everyone was in a mandated quarantine, you could not get into a shelter. Because as we said, our shelter was shelter in place. We didn't have volunteers coming in. We only had essential staff working. And so that was a difficult situation for our city. Now our city pulled together through all our resources and the Interactive Resource Center and the city, and we're able to put people into motels and hotels around town. Now the Salvation Army's job, through some CARES funding and through working with the community resources, is now we are taking these families that may have been in hotels for the past couple of months through this time if they experience homelessness. We're moving them into our Center of Hope. We're pairing them up with case managers, and now we're using what we call rapid rehousing dollars to get them back out into the community. So we're getting that flow of people getting back on their feet again. And this thing about our response to COVID, unlike any other disaster that we've had, it's not a 1-month response. It's not a 3 to 6 month response. This is going to be a long-term response. And so the Center of Hope is on the front lines of that ministry. And you can know that people today are getting out of the transition of hotels now to a shelter. Now we're getting them back into their own homes and apartments. The challenge here in Greensboro is the amount of affordable housing. So as that fills up, that can kind of bottleneck things. So we're continuing to look for resources to have safe places to put our families. But it's been a process as every business has had its challenges. It's one that we've had to be innovative. We've started no-touch social service cases where we can go virtual and still meet with people. They can provide their documents. We can provide housing assistance, rental assistance. We can do all these things virtually, it's been a good innovation for us here at the Salvation Army. And at the same time with, I'm at our Center of Hope now. When COVID hit, we give out of our food pantry on Tuesdays and Thursdays. From the initial time that hit, we saw our food pantry distributions just about double. We moved into a drive-through distribution, and the lines out here of our parking lot would be filled, and we still are giving out more amount of food than we have in the past. And the challenge with this was that we weren't able to do some of the same food drives that we do. The Postal Food Drive for us is a huge drive in the spring that helps us last for the first couple months of summer. But in the initial time of COVID, that was canceled. But Greensboro stepped up. We put the word out. We had many different neighborhoods do their own food drives and do it creatively, where one house would be chosen as the distribution site, and people would, on their way to the grocery store or way back, would drop a can on that driveway, and then we would come pick up. So if you're looking for ways to stay, involved in that type of way of giving back to the community, that was a way that was extremely helpful. And that got us through that first initial rush of giving food out. And so the community's continued to be innovated. We were able to do a virtual telethon with Fox 8 that really helped fill the gap as well for that. But we were very grateful. And we also started a no-touch donation area here at the Center of Hope where people can come and drop off food donations without having to touch a doorknob, come in, get anything, they can just drop and go. So we've tried to roll with the precautions and keep it as safe as possible as we meet the needs of the community. And you know, as we think about how we serve the youth and the Boys and Girls Club especially, that was an interesting challenge as we came to a time where beginning of March or middle of March and April and May, where it was not safe to have children in the building in any way. And so we had to shut down. We were able to keep staff going and reach out to our kids virtually. We did virtual programming through all the social media types of things that they use. We did different themes per day, Moving Mondays and fitness and Wisdom Wednesdays. And our teachers were continuing to stay engaged with the kids as they finished off their schooling virtually. But we knew that in the end, we were in the people business, and the kids that we work with here in our community are ones that need to have the resources that we provide. And so we worked hard with the CDC protocols of how to safely open up. And so in June, we had a soft opening of some afternoon hours. And what we do is we create small groups of 10. That includes the teacher. And so the building that you all have been at before over on Freeman Mill, it's a large building. We were able to spread out between every room in that building. And then we also have a teen center on the back of our property and create small pods of 10 kids. And those 10, that group of 10 does not cross with any other group. The teacher stays with that group. And so if you're a part of that group, you're only exposed to 9 people. And so that was part of the CDC guidelines for day camps. That's what we followed, and it did work well. And so throughout June, we did some afternoon programming hours. We really focused on emotional resiliency. What we saw with a lot of our children, many of them had to go through some very difficult things, not only dealing with being scared of the virus, not only dealing with not being around the social aspects of normal school life, but some of their home lives are very difficult. And some of that is very intensified when they were there 24/7. We had many children whose family members were taken due to violence during this time. Kids that had to witness scenes that you would not wish on anyone. And knowing that if we did all this programming, all these protocols, all these safety procedures, just for one kid that had to deal with that, it made it worth it. And so while our numbers aren't at the quantities that we normally are, of a couple hundred kids in the building, loud, a lot of energy, we love that, but we know that's not safe right now. But we know that even if in these smaller numbers, it's so meaningful for these children to be back with us. In July, we were able to officially open up longer days. So now we're open up 4 days a week, and that's full days. And so we went through our summer programming, doing that. And it really worked well. We continued to work with emotional resiliency and also our normal Boys and Girls Club programming. And then as we looked towards, we were staying in constant contact with the school system and the state, trying to see what the fall was going to look like with schooling. We're normally, once school kicks off, we're an afternoon program where they go to school and then they come to us in the afternoon. But when it was clear that at least 9 weeks of programming at school was going to be virtual, we knew that the Salvation Army Boys and Girls Club needed to be there for the families that we minister to. And so we are now open all day as what we call basically an enrichment center. While it's not virtual school, we give them the resources and opportunities to work through their schooling program. So here at the Salvation Army, and our Boys and Girls Club kids are coming, again, that's 4 days a week. We take 1 day to, again, deep clean and do some different safety protocols. But for 4 days a week, parents and grandparents are able to drop their kids off here at the Salvation Army Boys and Girls Club. They're able to, again, be around that pod of 10 people. but they're able to have the technology resources they need. They're able to have hours where they can devote it to their schooling time. We have our teachers that, while they can't individually teach every class, they're kind of a virtual study hall environment, if you kind of can connect with that, where we're looking to take these kids and guide them on the path, because what we want to make sure is that we're bridging the achievement gap. This is something that we work even when we're not in a virtual mode, but we want to make sure the kids that we're working with are not falling any further behind, and they are staying in line with where they need to be. It's a challenge, but it's one that we think is worth taking on. So we're in line with the school systems and how long they're to stay open. Again, we would like to have more numbers and be able to do that safely, but we do it with these small groups of 10. We also have another property that we work with in the city at Call Clue that here in the future will be another one that we'll move into and be able to offer services. And so this is something that that we just feel that we need to continue to pour into our kids and pour into the youth that have gone through so much over the past 6 months. You know, the studies that you read about their emotional resiliency and the achievement gap, especially in a time like this, shows us especially where we need to be. Across the command in other ways, you know, you came in as we met in the fellowship hall last year, as we met with you all. We have a church as well that all went on virtual this summer. We also worked with care packages for local seniors that we drop off. We have a senior group that normally meets with us, so we're taking care of them as much as we can remotely. We've done some mobile feedings. We in the initial time of COVID, when we took our mobile feeding unit to Cone Hospital and served appreciation gifts and food to nurses and doctors coming in. And now our family stores are back open, which has been a challenge, but we're open 4 days a week at one side and 5 days a week at another, because that's an essential part of our function, is that those sales help fund the programs that we look to generate funds for. Other than that, as we look towards this next year, our goal is to keep progress, keep people moving through their goals. We work with families every day who help set their own goals, and we help walk alongside them as they look to get back to self-sustainability. COVID has caused a little pause for their momentum, but we want, even if it's a baby step, we want to keep them moving. And as things start to open back up more and more, we want to see them succeed and stay with them. So the Salvation Army, again, is in this for the long term. As we look towards Christmas, and I know your club has been very involved with us, and you know, we're going to have somewhat of a modified kettle season. We're still waiting for information from our national partners as we're looking to pair together and do kettles in a safe manner and social distance manner. Angel Tree is one that we're discussing now to still, how do we provide the need for 1,200 to 1,500 children and a few hundred seniors in this community like we do every year. So these are things that we still are going to do, but just probably most likely in a modified manner. But we want to keep people's progress. And in the end, you know, it's all about others. I think about when William Booth typed out that telegraph and how that is right in line with Rotary's mission. I think if he was around today, our founder would have been on a virtual call with Rotary somewhere, because the Rotary's mission is right in line with what the Salvation Army is doing. And then I know, just want to close before questions. I know that many of you are watching the weather and seeing this horrible storm come through, and knowing that the Salvation Army is usually on the front lines of that. And just to give you some updates, the Salvation Army has local units in Louisiana and around that Texas border that are on standby and ready to be on the front lines of the first response. And then the way we work here in Greensboro is this is considered a territorial disaster, which means all the resources that we have, if called, we help. So we have a mobile feeding unit, which is called a canteen, that can serve about 1,200 meals a day through breakfast, lunch, and dinner. and we have trained staff and volunteers if we're called. And I'm on that list too. I always got to have my cell phone ready if they need. But if they call, then we send help. So they use the network of the Southern Territory for an event like this, and so we're on standby. But we do know that there are Salvation Army units that there right now that really get in strategic spots before the storm. So that way, once the storm makes landfall, the Salvation Army can be there to mainly feed meals to those that have lost so much and to help the first responders as well. So with that said, I'm sorry I didn't have gone through over the past few months of it, or we look to respond here in the next year. And Kelly, feel free to, if I missed anything, if that you wanted to share, feel free to fill in.
Matt, I have a question. What is the greatest need for volunteers, financial?
Sure. I tell you, right now, to be honest, volunteering is very difficult with the exposure. So we're having a few different methods that we can use, but one of our biggest needs now is we talk about the Boys and Girls Club, and as we begin to open up more spots for these groups of 10, is making sure that they have the technology needs. So if there's any resources in that area, we use Chromebooks. So a child can come in and do everything that they need on a Chromebook. So we're looking to over the next really month, open up 2 more groups, either on site or at a different site. So between 20 and 25 kids we're looking to bring in. And I'm not sure as far as the schooling resources, we're hearing from some of our families that they're unable to get the laptops either if it's multiple kids. And so when they come here, we'd like to have what they need where they can just work on their things. So Chromebooks is one thing that is a need. And then we'll be in touch with volunteer needs as those open up. Currently we're not bringing volunteers into the club and the kids and our shelter, but we're really just trying to expose people to the mission and what's happening and how the Salvation Army is working through this. So just ambassadors to know that one, the Salvation Army is working through this, and 2, to tell about the families that maybe has experienced homelessness over the past 6 months, who are now, with the help of the city and with the help of our Center of Hope, are in the process of getting back on their feet.
Matt, there was an article in yesterday's News and Record that said that Chromebooks did not allow kids to access the things that they needed to get to on the Guilford County schools. Remote education. Have y'all run into that?
We haven't run into that specifically, and I'll have to read that article. The Chromebooks that we have, we bought a few different models just before the summer, and they've been able to access what they've needed. So I just have to see if it's a certain model or whatnot. But I know there was some county-wide issues with the overall server, I guess, in the first week. But it seems like those kinks were worked out, and our kids have been able to access what they needed over the past few days. You know, we're all in. This is all new for us, and this is we're, let's see, just a week and a half in. So, but the Chromebooks that we have worked for what they have needed.
Good. Apparently, it was a branding issue with with the maker of the Chromebooks, who didn't want them to. Who, I can't believe they do this, but it's restricting them for access to other suppliers' software. Their major.
Oh yeah, you know, now that you say that, we did when we there was some issues, I think, with Zoom and the proprietary software, and working on some of ours that we had to kind of go and really change a lot of the settings on a couple of those And so it might be dealing with that, but I think we've at least gotten the equipment that we had to be able to work for the kids now.
Good.
Matt, when do you feel like you can make a decision on angel tree distribution? You know, how late can you wait before you decide to move forward with that this year?
Well, we definitely are moving forward with a angel tree program, Kelly. The big question is, and as we were fresh off of our meetings yesterday, is do we do a modified program of what we normally do, which is people adopt angels, buy gifts for that kid, and then bring them in? There's obviously challenges with that. We have a huge volunteer need to sort the thousands of toys. You think we have about 1,500 kids, that's 3 or 4 toys per kid. And so it's a big operation, as you know, and have seen the warehouse and are a great part of that. So the option is we do that if we can do it in a socially distant manner and safely, or we introduce a gift card model where for this year, donors would be able to purchase a somewhat restricted gift card of $50 or so that we would then be able to give out to families for purchasing of gifts. We do know that our intake process, our registration and everything, we're going to be able to do touchless and virtually. So that part is safe. And we know whatever way we distribute, we do in a socially distant manner. It's really the sorting and that piece and picking up toys and all the things that come from all over Greensboro. So we're really weighing between that. Do we go full toys, or do we operate in a gift card model this year, at least while the restrictions are happening? Any other questions?
Bell ringing this year?
Yeah, we are going to do a modified bell ringing program. So we'll still accept volunteers, and we are going to create a process that is distant from shoppers coming in and as touchless as a process as possible. And so we're working out all the details of that. And our national partners are working with the National Salvation Army to really nail down what that will look like. So.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Matt, you did a great job for us. Thank you for mentioning the storm. If you guys do set up a link or any type of avenue to donate, you can send that. Lisa can send it out to the club. I'm sure there are plenty of people who would be interested in donating.
Mm-hmm.
I am from Louisiana and have lots of family members down there, so I certainly would be. Also, I wanted to tell you the bell ringing is our most actively participated service event. So I'm excited to hear we're going to do it. Yes. Usually we get most of our club participating, and it's a great thing that y'all do every year. So
good. Thank you.
Thank you again. And with that, I'm going to wrap up our meeting. I will leave the link open if people want to chat after and visit and get together. Hopefully the current trend will be downward still with the new cases of COVID, and we will get to phase 3 eventually here and figure out how to meet again soon. So everybody have a great week.
Thank you. Thank you, Matt and Kelly, for coming.
Thank you for having
us.
Thank you.
We'll talk to you soon.
Yes.